welcome to Wonders Weird and Wild. Today we will be covering the topic of language isolates. As always, if you have any topics that you would like me to cover in future videos, please drop them down in the comments, and without any further ado, let's get on with today's video. So, I'm sure all of you watching at some point have seen a movie or read a book or in some way seen some piece of media that has a professor or a master of some language or historical languages or something who comes across a language that he or she says they have, quote, never seen before, end quote. And they act horribly shocked and surprised, and that to me is one of the most annoying things about any movie or show, because that shouldn't be too horribly surprising. It happens all of the time in real life. It is a phenomenon that's called language isolationism, and when a language is isolated, it essentially means that that language has no languages which it can be traced back to, nothing which it descended from. For instance, English can be etymologically traced back to Latin and to Greek and to Germanic languages, and that's all well and good. We know with most words where their roots came from and how they originated. Language isolates don't have that. They simply exist without any known relative languages. And this is not a horribly uncommon phenomenon. Some well-known examples of language isolates are Basque, Korean, and Sumerian. Language isolationism can occur in a number of ways. The first one that we're going to talk about here is geographic isolation. Essentially, where a group of people is geographically isolated from another for an extended period of time, where that language is left to sit and develop, and it changes so much that it has no real connection to the original language. And this can happen because of that geographic isolation, because the two groups have no interaction with each other. Here are some examples of languages that came about in that way. Another way that this can come about is the quote-unquote last survivor effect. This essentially means that all living relatives of a specific language go extinct. They are no longer spoken by anybody in the world, and so the last thing that we know of for that language is that language itself. Oftentimes, the dead languages are even forgotten, which makes this effect even more impactful. Here are some examples of languages that came about that way. Another thing that can cause the formation of a language isolate is just time. If given enough time, a language can shift and change so much that it has no similar cognates or grammatical structures or anything really to its original form. When this happens, it's essentially a language that is created from nothing, and thus it's a language isolate. Here are some languages that came about this way. And finally, we have what is probably my favorite type of language isolate, which is used most commonly in things such as movies and shows and pop culture, but it has come about in real life. It's essentially where a guy walks up to a whiteboard and creates his own language from scratch. This one's awesome because it can be done pretty much anywhere by anybody who has a basic understanding of linguistics, and it's honestly a pretty fun way to pass the time. Here are some examples of languages that have come about this way. Anyhow, that's all that I've got for today. As always, if you have any suggestions for future videos, please drop them in the comments, and have a nice day.